Do you feel like there was not an alt season this cycle? Because there was a huge, one of the most unbelievable alt cycles that we've seen that happened right underneath a lot of people's nose, and most people missed it because they weren't looking in the right place. And so, what I wanted to discuss today is the alt season that happened and where I think that we may go from here. Now, to start, I've been trading every single day for the past 4 years. I was here during the bull, I was here during the bear, and then I was here during every different shitcoin cycle and different narrative that we saw over the past 2 years, whether it was on ETH, Solana, BNB, all of it. So I put out this tweet and I got trashed because I said that we already had an unbelievable alt cycle this season. Um, I said that backwards. We already had an unbelievable alt season this cycle. People try to say that we didn't get an alt season, but we did, and it was life-changing for many people who identified where this alt season was happening. And I went to list off a ton of coins that went to 250 million, 500 million, a billion. There were coins that went absolutely insane. And there were thousands of coins that hit at least 20 to 30 to 40 million dollar market cap this cycle. Now, the thing is that there's a lot of people that said, "Oh, well, alt season never happened." The thing is that you could argue that alt season did happen on Solana and within meme coins, AI coins, and a couple utility coins here and there. And it wasn't any of the major coins from last cycle that people bought and were sitting in hoping that they were going to have their old dinosaur altcoins just absolutely pump. And so, just to break things down real quick, if you look at altcoins in general, you look at something like Solana. Solana went from $8 all the way to $280. So that was what, like, I don't know, a 25x or something like that. BNB went from $200 all the way to $1,400. That was like a 7x. So there were some altcoins that from the absolute lows, if you were holding for basically 2 years, they did really well. Now, if you look at what happened on Solana, there was Trump coin that opened at basically $1 billion FDV and it ran all the way to 70 million or $70 billion FDV. Dog with Hat launched at 0 and went all the way to 4.5 billion. Peanut got shilled by Donald Trump, by Elon. It was launched on Pump Fund. I literally was watching this on stream at 1 million and it went all the way to like 2 billion. I bought after the Binance listing and it was one of my better trades of the cycle. Fartcoin launched at absolute 0. We found this super early in my Discord at like 500K or something, went all the way to 2 billion. ARC, this was AI infrastructure on Solana. So this went from 0 all the way to like 600 mil. Griffin, same thing, launched at 0, went all the way to 600 mil. GOAT, this was like an AI Twitter. This was like one of the coins that started the entire AI season that we had on Solana. Launched at 0, went all the way to 1.4 or something. Then we had TikTok coins. Everyone remembers Chill Guy when every single huge like Web2 media company and just like NFL teams and stuff, they were talking about this. This launched at 0. It sat at like 5 million for a couple days and then it pumped all the way to 600 million. Moodang, that super popular fucking like sea animal, whatever it was, like I don't even remember, went all the way from 0 to 600 million, went absolutely insane. And then that all happened within the span of like 2024, right? Those were all 2024 coins that I just mentioned. And then a month ago, we had other coins that launched on BNB. There was an entire shitcoin season that launched on BNB. This opened at 0, went all the way to 280 mil. Giggle, this went from 0 all the way to 260 mil. Binance Life, this went from 0 all the way to like 500 million. So anyway, my point is that there were coins that literally went from 0 all the way to hundreds of millions of dollars of market cap. And all you had to do is just be paying attention to where these coins were like when they were launching, and you had to understand where the money was. And that's one thing that most people failed to do this cycle. The thing is there were a lot of huge influencers, YouTubers, accounts on Twitter and everything that literally just kept shilling the same stuff from 2021 over and over and over again. And so if you go and you look at what happened last cycle, there were only around 10,000, maybe 15,000 total crypto coins that had launched up until like 2021. And so when we had that inflow of all the money that was coming into the crypto ecosystem, there wasn't that many coins to buy. So the narratives at the time were gaming, like gaming tokens were going really crazy. NFTs had just launched. There weren't a lot of NFT projects that had been out. And then you just had like the major altcoins like Solana and ETH that went absolutely insane last cycle. And so if you look at something like Sandbox, this went to $7 billion market cap and has just been bleeding out for the past 4 years. Never really had a crazy retest of its all-time high, and it just continued to die. Dogecoin, this went to like $80 billion FDV or something. This did pump right here, as you can see, last cycle, or last year at the end of like November, December. And this was obviously a meme coin. And this was when meme coins were going crazy. So it doesn't surprise me that this had a little bit of a pump, but not every coin did this. And what has happened since? It's just been bleeding out. Avalanche, this was a huge narrative. This coin went to $30 billion FDV. I felt like this went higher, but now it's at 6. It has been dumping for a very long time, and it's basically just been stuck. Like, it hasn't been able to break out from this trend for so long. And so anyway, my point on this entire thing is that you have people that basically look at Bitcoin dominance, which has been going up for this entire cycle. Essentially, the height, it was at 64%. Right now it's at 58%. If you look at, let's just say, the 2021 cycle, Bitcoin dominance topped out at, let's just call it 63%. It dumped down to like 40%. And there were a bunch of altcoins that went absolutely insane. And so this cycle, there was not really any sort of alt season yet. Now, you could argue that this whole dump that we are seeing right now in crypto on Bitcoin, because obviously, like, Bitcoin's been going down from 125K all the way to 92, where we're at right now. If you zoom out and if you just look, we've been going up for almost 3 years straight. I remember exactly where I was when Bitcoin was at 16K, and then now it went all the way to 123K, a 10x on the biggest crypto asset. And there were only a few shakeouts in here. Like, the market was really strong for this long period of time. Now, the issue is that Bitcoin is dumping, but none of the alts are following it. And so this raises a few questions. One, is there still a 4-year cycle? And are we still following the 4-year cycle that everybody remembers, which is like every 4 years there's like, Bitcoin goes moons and then there's an alt cycle, and is that going to happen here? Is the cycle over already? The second thing, which I already kind of mentioned, is there going to be an alt season, or was this cycle just completely different from what it was last cycle, to the point where Bitcoin was going up the entire time and there were alts that were going up throughout the entire past 2 years of Bitcoin having its crazy run, but it just wasn't on the top 100 coins that people thought were going to go up. Instead, everyone decided to go chase the brand new tokens. And the difference between last cycle and this cycle was that you could basically buy anything last cycle and it would go up 10x when we were in a bull run. It was crazy. Like, everything was mooning. And the difference is that as markets mature and as they get more efficient, what ends up happening is the market becomes harder. And so there's a lot of people that are in crypto that are very sad because Ethereum never went past 4,800. It never really broke its all-time high, and it didn't go to 6 or 7K, and everyone thought that it was going to. And so that happened with a lot of different coins. And so it raises that question of what really happened this cycle. And there was just a shift. Everybody wanted to go for meme coins. And there were a lot of people that said that meme coins were absolutely dumb. They said that they were stupid. They're like, meme coins are going to die and everything. And it's like, yeah, you could say that meme coins are definitely having a huge pullback across the board. There's no denying that. But the fact is I can pull up 100 to 200 to 300 different examples of coins that literally launched on a launch pad at zero that went to hundreds of millions of dollars of market cap, and all you had to do was adjust. And the fact is that people, for the most part, did not adjust to what happened. And on this tweet that I made, there were a lot of people that were like, all of these are meme coins. These aren't altcoins. That doesn't count. It doesn't really matter, in my opinion, how you wrap it up. Whether you want to say that meme coins aren't altcoins, I would argue that anything that isn't Bitcoin is an altcoin, right? Like, just call it what it is. And if you want to also not call Ethereum an altcoin, that's up to you. But I would call basically anything that isn't Bitcoin an altcoin. Meme coins are altcoins. And there were a lot of AI tokens that launched on Solana and even some other chains that went absolutely crazy this cycle. And so when I look at this and I say to myself, where were all of the traders? They were all on Solana. They were all on meme coins, on whatever different chain, whether it was Base, because Base has also had like a lot of runners too. I haven't even really talked about that at all, so I'm not going to discount that. But there were coins on Base, Solana, BNB, all over the place. And I think that the reason why a lot of people are having a hard time coming to terms with the fact that there were so many runners and a lot of people missed most of them is because they wanted the easy way out. They wanted to sit there and buy old altcoins and watch them go up, watch their portfolio go absolutely crazy. And the money just never really flowed into every single coin. And the reason why is because, like I said, last cycle, there were a lot less coins. This cycle, everybody's still like, yeah, every coin is going to go up eventually. And it's like, there are quite literally too many coins that have been launched. There's been millions and millions of tokens that have launched over the past like 2 years because of these launch pads and the ease of launching, to the point where it's just not, there's not enough money and there's not enough attention for all of these coins to go back to their all-time highs. And so if you've been listening this far, where do I think we go from here? I think that things have changed in crypto to the point where it is now way less, it is way more efficient. It's way harder for people that just want to park their money into certain things and hope for them to go up 10x. It's just not that easy. It's really just not that easy anymore. And so that's why I personally am very happy with the way that I performed this cycle, because I hit a lot of these coins. Now, I didn't ride them from the lows all the way to the top, but I made money on a lot of these coins, and I stabled all throughout the past 6 to 9 months. And so I've been totally fine. Like, I'm super happy with the way that things went. And so moving forward, I think what is going to happen is we are going to have windows of opportunity. Do I think that you can only make money in a bull market? No, you can make money in a bear market too. In 2023, there were a ton of pockets of opportunity on ETH, and there were like little apps and stuff on AVAX and different, there was just different, and gaming NFTs. Like, there were tons of different things that launched over the past, over in the months that were leading up into the bull run, where we were basically in a complete dead bear market, but there were still a lot of opportunities. And so I don't want anybody to think that, oh, just because, this, all this stuff already happened and, we might be going into a bear market, right? Like, because for all we know, we could. One thing that I did want to bring up is that this is the bull market peak indicators list. And if you're not familiar with this, this was a good way to identify whether or not we were topped from a Bitcoin standpoint. And what's funny is not a single one of these indicators were hit yet this cycle. So it still says to hold. Now, this dump that we've been seeing over the past month, has been really tough because everyone's like, man, is this cycle really over? This has been a really tough bleed out. We've been getting a lot of good news. The Fed is cutting rates and all that stuff. Like, why is the crypto market not mooning still? And nothing can go up forever. So what I personally think is that if you are bullish on crypto as a whole, then you have to be very specific with what you're buying and what you're holding and then what you're flipping, because like I said, it is now much more profitable, and the people that are making more money are the ones that understand narratives. They see where the money is flowing. Oh, there's a new perp dex that launched that CZ has been pushing called Aster. Okay, that just led into an entire BNB season where there were meme coins on BNB that went to $100 million of market cap. There was a month-long window where there was multiple 10 to 100 X's that were completely free if you were paying attention. And that is the kind of stuff that is going to pop up over time. And so I know that I said a lot of different things during this video, and you can choose to disagree with me all you want. You could just say that this is a mid-cycle dump, and you could say that all season hasn't happened and that, you know, all of these coins are going to rip. And the thing is that for all we know, we could dump down to what, 85, 80K, and then we could just rip back up to 160K, and then we could moon. And then people might come back on and comment on this video and be like, see, there was an alt cycle. And it's just like, it could happen. Like, alt season could still happen. But the question is, because we've already been in a bull market for 2 years, are we going to go lower? And if that's the case, where is the next best entry on altcoins to where you can buy the lows and then hopefully scalp into whatever resurgence of the market that we get? I'm not here to try to predict whether or not we're in a bull market or a bear market, because what I just do is wake up on a daily basis. I trade the market, whether it's meme coins, it can be utility coins or anything like that. And I just, you know, I stable my profit at the end of the day, because this cycle to me has felt very sketch. Holding things has been very tough because, as you can see with all of these coins, I'm not going to shy away from this. Yeah, this coin went to 4 billion. Okay, it's down 90%. Peanut went to 2 billion. Okay, it's down 95%. Fartcoin literally was just at 1.6 billion over the summer, and now it's down 80%. So the thing is that I'm not here saying that meme coins and all of this stuff are like, you know, the best thing to hold forever. We have moved into a much faster cycle, this is just the way that things are now, to where you do have to be scalping a lot more and realize that a coin could rip and it could be up for, you know, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then it could dump relentlessly and it could be completely cooked. And there's nothing that you can do about that. So I think that if you're trading this market, I think you have to change the way that you view it, and pay more attention to the different types of coins that are launching, the different narratives, what chain they're launching on, and watch where the money is flowing. And so anyway, I said a lot of stuff here. I'm going to just call it right now. The last thing that I wanted to say on this, just to be completely like upfront, when people on this tweet were saying stuff like, oh, all, you know, these aren't altcoins, like altcoins never ripped, like, you know, people are going to buy things with utility. I'm just going to say this right now. Utility is super irrelevant. It's all about attention. None of these coins really even did anything, right? Like, they were and if they did, some of them were just like very basic and undeserving of these insane valuations. I am not saying that any of these coins are worth what, you know, when at the peak that they were worth this. They weren't. It was a bubble. There was a ton of money that was piling into this stuff. There was a lot of leverage that was piling into this stuff. And so a lot of these coins had no use at all. And so if you're caught up on only thinking that coins have value in crypto just because they have utility or are marketed as utility coins, it makes no difference if if a coin has utility, if nobody uses it, if nobody knows about it, and if nobody cares about it. The reason why these coins went so hard is because there were certain narratives that each of these coins hit, and because there was attention and there was reason for people to buy them, and these coins all went absolutely crazy. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you're trading this market, you can feel free to join my Discord. I'll put the link somewhere in the comments of this video specifically. Hopefully this was helpful of me just like breaking down where I think that things have been and where things could go and the way that things have shifted. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Thank you guys for watching. See you later.